Okie dokie, we're gonna get right to the lesson today. We left off doing basically modes and key formulas. We're gonna do the same thing today, except we're gonna go straight, well, to the straight to the modes. We're gonna start with the A major key formula. So A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. And the Ionian mode of this is going to be, yep, you guessed it, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Dorian. Dorian's going to start on the B positioning. B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Alright. Next up, the Lydian mode. It's going to start on the C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp. Alright, Mixolydian. We're starting on the D note. D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, and a half step to D. Starting on the E for the Phrygian mode. E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, and E. Now, the Aeolian mode, which is going to start on the F sharp note, and this is going to be our C minor scale, or I'm sorry, our A minor scale, our true A minor scale, aka the Aeolian positioning, the scale that comes from that positioning. And that's going to be F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, and back to F sharp. And our final positioning, our Locrean, is going to start on our G sharp, A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and I'm going to go ahead and return to A. Okay, now let's say we take the key of A and we flat the 3 note. So we've got ourselves an A minor key. Now we've got ourselves, well, the Melodic Minor Scale, but we've got ourselves the formula for an A minor key. Well, what's an A minor key? You can only write in major, so what's an A minor key? How do I recognize this? Well, if you're looking at the key of A major and the first thing you notice is a flat 3 showing up, you're in the key of A minor. And what is this going to look like? Well, let's start at the A note with our positioning. The minor formula, by the way, for the actual key, for recognizing the key, it is going to be a root note followed by a whole step, a half step, 4 whole steps, and then a half step taking us back to the root note. It's going to look a little like, for the key of A minor, A, B, half step to C, that's the note that's changing, that's our flat 3, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, and A. And that is also the Ionian positioning, but that would also be our A harmonic minor scale. All right. the key fits the scale in this case whenever it comes to that Ionian positioning. Not with the other two. The other two are more Aeolian positioning, or if you're seeing them show up in their key, you're going to be looking for for the harmonic minor, it would be a flat 3 and a flat 6. For standard minor, it would be, or yeah, standard minor, just normal key of, let's say, A minor, it would be a flat to the 3 note, the 6th note, and the 7th note. That would indicate that we're moving into a scale befitting of that. Alright, mostly you're just going to see it in the positioning. I mean, the positioning's the way to do that without having to show 3 flats. You don't want that showing up in music unless something extreme's happening. You don't want to show that in your writing unless like something truly extreme is happening to your key, or you've moved so many keys away that that's where you now are. Alright, let's move on to doing our modes for minor. So again, we've adjusted our key to the formula of whole step, half step, 4 whole steps, and a half step. That's gonna make it to where we're gonna have to adjust all these scales for all our different modes. And also remember, modes on a guitar, I mean, chords, all kinds of chords can be plucked out of it. You can start on different notes and pull different scales out of different modes, but whenever it comes to the starting position scales, that's what these are going to be. These are the scales for the starting positions of the modes. And because I'm in drop D tuning, we're going to go ahead and do these off of the A string instead of the 6th string, the 5th string instead of the 6th string. And I probably shouldn't be mixing modes, but I'm doing whatever it takes to get the key out. Boy, I got it written down, so that's all we're going to keep doing. Alright, to start with, the Ionian. Yeah. Alright, Dorian, starting from the B position. We have to adjust for that C note coming in. So it's going to be B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, and back to B. Alright, now our 3rd position, our Lydian position, which is going to no longer be the C sharp, it's going to be a C note now. We've altered the key formula, so we're adjusting. This one's going to be C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, and C. Next up, we have our Mixolydian positioning. That's going to be from our D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C, and D. Alright, moving on to Phrygian from our E, F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E. That's Phrygian. We're going to now be moving on to Aeolian. It starts from F sharp, G sharp, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. And last but not least, we have our Locrean. Locrean is going to be G sharp, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. And well, that's all of them. Now, if you were to alter a key to augmented, you would have to work out the different lettered scales for that key. If you were to change to something like minor or diminished minor, you would have to work out the notes for that key. Oh, whenever it comes to speaking chords, let's go over some notes real quick. Whenever it comes to speaking chords, it's best to indicate, like the way I like to do things, 5-note first. Is it augmented or diminished? Alright. Next, we move on to the 3-note. Is it minor or is it standard? Okay, next we move on to the 7-note. Is it 7th chord? Is it major 7th, or does it not apply? After that, the suspendeds. And finally, are we adding a 6 or anything like that? And whenever it comes to anything to do with 6 positioning, either write add before, that way you don't want to show something like a flat 6, like an A flat 6, and next thing you know, it looks like it's an A flat 6. So either use parentheses, bracket that thing, or write add 6, just like we write sus2 for our suspended chords, or sus4 for our suspended chords. It's just best to make sure those flat and 6 symbols stay away from the chord name. That's the way to do it. Either write add 6, add flat 6, or put it in a bracket, put it in parentheses. Alright, other notes. I want to go through the notes real quick. Also, you are, like a lot of guitars, because we can just read tab. There's no need for sheet music. Yes, there is. You see how the sharps and flats work with sheet music. It's informative. You have to know how to key things. How are you going to know how to key things if you don't know how the sharps and flats work and how they show up? Also, like whenever I'm altering a chord formula, that's altering a sharp or a flat into the chord formula, which we only write in major, so it's going to show up immediately in what you're doing. And well, if you know how to read, you're gonna know, okay, this is what I have to adjust to. This is what everything I'm going to be writing is adjusting to. But okay, for the treble clef, here's what you do. Alright, you know how the treble clef has 5 black lines and there's 4 spaces in between those black lines? Well, for the treble clef, in those spaces, from bottom to top, I want you to spell out the word face. F-A-C-E. I think you can figure out all the rest of the notes from there. But there's your treble clef. There's the notes. Alright, for your bass clef, though, I want you to spell out the word for again, bass clef, same thing. 5 lines, 4 spaces in between those lines. But from bottom to top, I want you to spell the word ace and then G on that last line. So just give you an idea where the F is going to be. It's going to be one below the line, touching that bottom line, but below the line. Not on the line, below the line, touching it. So, yeah, face G, but the F is below the line now. That's your bass clef. Well, now you know what a bass clef and a treble clef looks like. I think you can figure out. I have faith in you. You can figure out the rest of the notes from there. Every once in a while, you're going to want to see what these alts look like on a clef. And also, if you're ever working with a pianist, you're going to need to know this. You're going to need to be able to communicate with your pianist. Like, this is what we're doing. This is how this works. This is what we're doing. Oh, this is the theory we're using. This is the sheet. This is why all this is happening. and you're going to want to be able to key things properly. You walk up to you might be able to do this with the violinist. You could probably walk up to a violinist because they're on a stringed instrument with tablature and they'll probably understand it. You're not going to be able to do that with a pianist. The pianist is going to look at you like, I don't have strings. They aren't there. And also with most violinists, keep in mind they use D-A-D-A. So it's just a little different than what ours looks like. One of the main reasons I like to play at a drop D, I like to be able to match up to the films. And it's nice for hardcore songs. I don't write too many hardcore songs, though. It's nice for hardcore too. Alright, but that's the first note. That's just simple way to remember the treble clef and where notes are located. Simple way to remember the bass clef, where notes are located. I always want you to think about guitar, but also think about the piano. So something that looks crazy on guitar might seem saner on piano. And also, we have all these positionings on guitar that repeat themselves. Whereas piano, it's like low to high. All of your normal notes, white keys. All of your sharps and flats, black keys. So it's kind of, they get to see as they're going through it the way the alts are shaping and taking place. We would have to sheet music in order to see this. They get to see it on their instrument. But one thing that we have cool that pianists don't have, we have our open notes. We have the ability to have open strings to where we can do things off of those open strings, like the of course pianists could do that, but ours is made cooler. We actually get to do the hammer-ons. They have to hit the individual notes and just pluck them real quick and throw their hands around. Yeah. Alright, I'm not making fun of you guys like pianists. Like y'all can cover two ends on one instrument. We're stuck with our mid end. But I am trying to say that there's advantages to writing on guitar and there's advantages to writing on piano. Like, it's so cool that the pianist actually gets to see the theory change as their black and white notes are altering into other notes and the chromatics that they're adding in. It's so cool that it's like their instrument looks like a treble and bass clef. Their instrument almost look like they get to see the sharps and flats move. We're just stuck on, like, there's no black versus white. I'm either on a sharp or I'm on a flat, but I don't really have time to think about it. I'm not seeing it put right in front of me. I'm just reacting to the chord and trying to line things up. But again, with the guitar advantage, it's those open notes and different tunings that you can do with the open notes and just different things that you can. It's an advantage, and the hammer-ons, it's a little style and advantage that you don't get on the piano. But you're limited to that middle and high end on a guitar. You don't have that. You don't have that extreme high end, and you don't have that low end at all. And with the guitar, also, it's just two different instruments. There's just beauty writing on a guitar compared to the piano, but there's also beauty writing on a piano comparative to a guitar too. It's like, I can't explain it, but both have their ups. Like, both have their perks, that's for sure. Alright, moving on with the lesson. Well, let's move on with the notes first. Again, just keep trying different note formulas. You get different sounds. And that will get me to actually move back into the lesson. Let's go over a few of these different key formulas. We just did major and minor, but let's end this video by talking about, like, what would an augmented key formula look like to start? Well, augmented, that is going to be our sharp 5 note. So we're going to have the normal formula of the one note, our root, starting us off. But we're going to have a whole step, a half step to our 4 note. Then we're going to have a 1.5 step jump to our sharp 5 note. Another half step jump to our 6th note. A whole step jump to our 7th note. And another half step jump to get us back to our root. And yeah, that's our augmented key. But go to third positioning. You've got the. No, wait. It's not the third positioning, is it? It's the. Hold on, please. It's the 6th positioning, and you got the harmonic minor. So I mean, you have to adapt your starting points. You have to adapt your scale to what the key is, and there's different ways to recognize it. You got 7 notes to choose from. What is the easiest note to explain the theory from? And well, sharp 5. That one's augmented. That's how we're truly changing that key formula. Even if you see it show up like, okay, let's say we're in the key of C. Well, next thing we know, we're in the key of C minor. Next thing we know, we're flatting the 6th note. Okay, that's going to show up as a flat 3 and a flat 6. And you're going to be in the C minor flat 6 scale. You're going to be in those notes. What do those notes translate to, though? Simply put, F augmented. That's the simplest way to see it. The thing to where you would only. But if you're writing from the key of C and you get there that way, you're going to have to show it as, unless you want to change the key that you're writing in all of a sudden. Every once I've seen that done in Metallica books, so I mean that does happen. Do you want to show a different key for your interlude part, or do you want to write it in the same key but adapt the notes and pull it back to keep everything simple? I mean, that's up to the writer. Yeah, it really is all fine. It is up to the writer. I like to try to simplify things, and even if I can't simplify things on paper, I like to simplify it in my mind. I at least like to know where I'm. I like to know where I'm at. I do. And even I don't write a lot of in diminished, but I love playing through those Castlevania songs, and they like jumping through major, minor, and diminished keys. Like that's the direct. Like it's the rules that they have. Like, those are set. I'm sure every musician that writes for that game knows what they are getting into before they sign a contract, because every one of them, it's the same awesome theory, and it uses a lot of minor and a lot of diminished. It's where those go. I love them. I like watching people try to pick them out on the what's it called sites, the tab sites. But I also like picking them out by ear and trying to figure them out too. It's just those things make for a lot of fun. Something other than movies, that's for sure. Let's see here. Our next one, let's go with our diminished minor next, since we're on the subject. Our diminished minor is going to show up as a flat 3 and a flat 5. Why is diminished usually paired with minor? To prevent the chromatic. The major diminished does sound good too. but you're going to encounter a chromatic with a major diminished. With a minor diminished, you are not. Alright, with the minor diminished, the formula is going to be a root note, followed by a whole step, a half step to the flat 3, a whole step to the 4, a half step to the flat 5, a 1.5 step jump to the 6th note, a whole step jump to the 7th note, and a half step jump to the back to the root note. After that, let's just do flat 6 and go ahead and start winding this video down. Again with flat 6, please indicate this is add flat 6 or bracket it. Put it in the parentheses, not quotation marks, but parentheses. The flat 6 is going to be a root note followed by a whole step jump, a whole step jump, a half step jump to the 4, a whole step jump to the 5, a half step jump to the flat 6. Then we have the step and a half that comes in there and gets us to our 7 note before we take that half step jump back to the root. So again, that's going to be root, whole step to 2, whole step to 3, half step to 4, whole step to 5, half step, flat 6, 1.5 brings us to 7, and a half step brings us back to our root. And those are just a few different examples of key formula. Okay, but let's take something like, okay, let's just play around. How about we do a sharp 4? How's that going to work? Let's see what a C sharp 4 looks like. Oh, wait. It's got a sharp in there and everything else is in the key of C. What does that tell us? It's the key of G. We've just found a different way of getting there. Which is good though. Like if we're moving from key to key, that's the way to alt. So if we're writing in the key of C and we've been doing all this stuff in the key of C and now we want to get to the key of G, well, that's what we're altering. We're altering that 4th note. We're going to go ahead and sharp that thing and move on into the key of G. So let's say we're playing with a D minor most of the time, like. Now we want a real D chord. Well, that's what we've just done. We've moved from something very C-like key to something very G-like key, or moving into the sharps, wherever you want to position it. It's definitely moved to G though, because the F sharp's in there. So just something to consider. How you change certain notes is going to affect the key, but certain keys sound really good connected to each other, but also certain keys sound really good together. Like, you ever mixed a C key with a D minor key? I know it's got the C sharp in it. You'd think D minor key with a C key? No way. No, yes. Keep the D minor key in the high end. Keep the C key in the low end. You'll love it. You'll absolutely play with it. You'll figure out something to do with this because you'll be like, oh, it's so fascinating. It's a sharp 1 note. Yeah, in a way it is. To the C key it is. To the D key it is not. It creates a good sound on top of each other. Same with D minor 6 and C key. Same with F augmented in C key. These are things that you can just hang out in that C key, but play those other keys on top of them whenever it comes to what you're doing with the melody, and find things that sound just absolutely terrific. We'll go over that in a song coming up, though. A few of those examples in a song coming up called Red Herring. I don't want to get talking about that again, though. We're pretty much done with this lesson. I don't want to do too much more with this video. We'll move on to the rest of this in the next one. This was a fun one, though. Oh, go ahead and show you what the augmented looks like. It would be A, B, C sharp. Remember, we're not going minor this time. We're just staying major, but we're augmenting. So A, B, C sharp, D, F, F sharp. That's going to be that sharp 5, that F. F sharp, and then it's just back to G sharp and A. One more time. That was bad. That's supposed to be it. A, B, C sharp, D, F, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Alright, what's the minor augmented? Well, actually, no. This one's going to be diminished minor. What's the diminished minor look like? It's going to be A, B, C, D, E flat, F sharp, G sharp, and A. Alright, what about the A flat 6? That's going to be A, B, C sharp, D, E, F, G sharp, and A. And again, this is just changing up the key formula, just changing into different practical key formulas, and of course each one of those key formulas, they're going to have all their positionings connected to them. And again, genius musicians love to take these key formulas and even smack alts in there. And the last thing we're going to touch on, okay, let's say we take something like the key of C. But we've got 3 different positions we could take the key of C and add our pentatonics and pull 5 noters from. And you don't only have to pull like a 5 noter from the pentatonic. But the other thing that you can do with keys is leave out notes. Now, I talk all the time about how I like to add notes in and plug notes into keys. The other thing to do is take out notes, leave out notes. And that opens up worlds in the melody end. Lead, accompaniments, interludes, any little instrument that does its little fills, it gives them, and for every note you leave out, if they go to that note, it leaves them options of whether they want it to be the one or the other, the sharp or the standard, or flatter the standard, flatter the natural, sharper the natural. But by leaving them out of the root and the harmony, you open up possibilities in the melody. So it's just it's another way of creating things, leaving notes out, like Stevie Ray Vaughan and Hendrix used to do a lot of that. I've talked about that in another video, or maybe it's one that's coming up. I've got the Pride Plus and Red Herring videos prepared. I want to do these first. I do. I want to get terms straightened out before we move on into anything more advanced. But yep, this has been fun. We're showing these key formulas. We're doing what needs to be done, and well, I don't have a good way of ending this video, so I think we're just gonna drop it right here. Yeah, we're just gonna get these terms straightened out. And then we're going to move back to actual fun with application and showing the application and explaining things. I'm looking forward to getting back to that.